So, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast, where before we get into it, for 1 week only, it's time to rejoice, as I have stable cam.
He's finally got a desk. It only took him going to a hotel after two and a half years. Yeah, just take the desk home with you, please. I beg. Yeah. Get on the tube with a desk.
Yes, pleased if I do that.
Oh, they'll never know.
But yeah, all it took is going to London for a week, get the hotel.
Yeah. All you have to do is come down south and you get a table.
Yeah. Tables don't exist north of Birmingham.
I mean, if you want the desk next week, it means we'll need to record at like 9 a.m. before I go for my flight.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
That's
bedtime.
Let's get right into it. It's Monaco, Formula 1, 2, and 3. Let's just get started. One sentence weekend review. Ben.
Ted's hate watching made the race more fun.
Richard?
Longest F1 sprint.
I'm going to go with the Monaco curse is broken.
Yeah, fair. I mean, should we... qualifying, oh my god. Red Bull weren't anywhere.
Especially Sergio Perez.
Charles Leclerc got another pole position. Oh my god. It's finally happening. First off, the McLarens looked good in both on-track performance and the livery. That's how you do a special livery. Ferrari, looking at you.
Can we just say, though, they did miss a bit by not running that special livery in Australia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is Aussie colours.
Mm.
And to be honest, they also missed a bit by not running that in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
either Australia or Brazil. Yeah, but they clearly won't run it in Brazil when they ran it in Monaco.
Yeah, no. It's not like they brought the Triple Crown livery back when we were in America, was it? So
they should run that back. That livery was insane.
That was nice, yeah.
To be fair, though, we didn't run any of the Triple Crown circuits other than Monaco, so...
No, I know, but But the US Grand Prix would be the closest thing we get to the Indy 500, so if they were going to bring it back anywhere, they'd bring it back then. The Indy 500 was also this weekend.
Well. Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, but the Indy 500 was also this weekend, and it was delayed many hours due to rain and thunder and lightning.
Yeah, but it was worth it.
I didn't actually watch it.
It was brilliant. It was the quality. I was sad with the ending, but it was absolute quality.
Want to go back?
But
and
anyway,
watch?
we're not here to talk about that. Let's go back to Formula 1.
Yes.
Sergio Perez doing Sergio Perez things and being eliminated in Q1.
I just want to say, I called it. After Imola, I said he's back. And truly, he has returned to form. This is prime Perez.
Well, you said return to form. Let's be more accurate. Return to lack thereof.
No. This is Perez form.
This Perez.
When he stops trying to be Perez, he finishes near the front. When he embraces his Perezness, he finishes P18 in quali and crashes in turn 2.
Yeah.
This is the reason we brought in Perez Bingo, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. This is why it exists.
Yeah, P cubed.
He even said last week that we're trusting Perez too much.
Hey, I want to say that I was optimistic and I put him 12th.
Our expectations were low, but
holy shit! Yeah. That's going to be it now, isn't it? We're just going to our average predictions are going to come down.
Going to drop.
Yeah.
And then he's going to have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about lap 1, turn 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was actually quite clean in qualifying.
Yeah.
unlike Formula 3.
There weren't any red flags in quali, which was nice because it meant we actually got everyone to do their laps, which is good. That's what we want. That's the thing that annoys me about circuits like Monaco or like Baku, where one crash in a certain spot, it has to be a red flag.
Yeah.
But it often means that loads of people don't actually get to put in their flying lap because it gets called
to
up.
be fair, at any circuit though, a crash in
true.
qualifying means a red flag.
True, but it's more.
Sometimes they can delay it a little bit longer, like at traditional tracks such as Silverstone, because they're miles off the circuit.
Yeah,
but in street circuits, they've got no choice.
It's also more the likelihood of there being a crash is significantly higher at circuits like Monaco, Baku, or any of the street circuits really, where the walls are so close.
Monaco, Baku, Singapore, Vegas.
Yeah, those are the ones that it's like crash, red flag straight away. But also, like, you only have to put half a foot wrong. Whereas other circuits, you can kind of get away with that. You might end up with, like, half a wheel in a gravel trap. And, like, you lose time, but you don't crash. Whereas this is, like, where that half a gravel trap would be is a brick wall. So it's like, there goes my rear suspension. So, yeah, But it was good to actually get everyone giving it the beans on the last go round, except Max because he put it in the wall at turn 1. And not hard, but like
that was enough clean driving.
Yeah.
And on lap 1, chaos.
Yeah.
Perez's car disintegrated.
I love that we just didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, it just comes up. It just comes up red flag, and I'm like, seriously, have they just called a red flag for Carlos at turn 4?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And then they just cut to just half a car, and I'm like, this makes more sense.
Yeah. Half a car and just the street filled with debris.
But equally, having seen that, I then went, well, why the hell did it take them so long to hit the button?
Yeah.
Like, you see
that long.
Any of that, and you're like, well, there's nowhere to get around that. Red.
It took so long that Ocon managed to send himself to space.
Yeah, he did, yeah. All the way down at Portier. Well. It did.
It's fact that like Brundle just thought it was a normal replay. Like, what's Ocon doing there? And then it's like, bang!
Yeah, that is right. Okay, so rules of racing is like don't hit your teammate. Rules of Monaco basically transforms that into don't lunge your teammate. And Ocon broke that at like turn 8 of the opening lap. It's like
defender Esteban for that. It was just wild.
No, he did apologise for it, but at the same time,
as I say, to be fair, on social media, he didn't even defend himself. He just went, "Why did I do that?"
Apparently the Alpine boss absolutely went in on him and said there will be consequences.
Oh my!
Yeah, so and considering he's out of contract at the end of the year, that's not a good look.
Speaking of consequences or lack thereof, let's discuss Kevin Magnussen.
Okay. I'm actually going to defend Kevin here because watching the onboard from Sergio Perez is staring into his right-hand mirror, fully sees that Kevin is there, does not give him any space. Perez creates that crash for me. Yes, Kevin could have backed out, but Kevin had also gone so far over as he'd actually hit the wall anyway, and yet Perez still didn't give him any room. And given that Perez is literally staring at Kevin in his wing mirror, I think it's more on Perez than people are letting on.
But then does Kevin warrant that space? Because he's not alongside.
He's got his front tyre ahead of Perez's rear tyre, but normally that is not justification for racing room, but opening lap of Monaco, use your head, let him back out of it, move over a couple of inches, you know?
You could argue, though, as well, though, that if he's hit the wall, there wasn't a space for his car in the first place.
It's more because the line Perez is coming over. So there was room, and he's gone, oh shit, he's coming over, hit the wall in trying to avoid Perez, and then gone, well, I can't go any further over, and Perez has just continued to come across. So, for me, that's on Perez.
Fair.
I mean, okay, it's not entirely on Perez. Kevin takes some of the blame, but given that Perez is on board, literally shows him staring him down. There's not a lot Perez can do to like be, I didn't see him. You're staring at him. You know? You knew he was there.
Racing incident.
I think that's basically what it... Yeah. Ocon, however, got a 5-place grid penalty.
Yeah.
I love that. But the commentator was like, why did they give him a time penalty? It's like, because that's the due process. Just because he's already retired doesn't mean they won't announce it as a time penalty and then convert it to a grid penalty.
To be fair, though, they could just have said, because he was out, will be investigated after the race and just slap him with a 5-place grid drop.
Yeah, but they'd probably forget about it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it didn't really,
race.
need to be like investigated mid-session because it clearly wasn't Gasly's fault.
No, but equally they were in a red flag, so they were like, well, we might as well do something, right?
On him. Yeah. Also that.
I think as well there might have been the possibility of him rejoining the race under the red flag. Obviously, it could have been repaired. So that may have been why. And then we restarted on lap 3 and normal Monaco service resumed. A bit of a snooze fit.
I reckon they should change a red flag rule and not being able to change tyre compound. Like,
I think it just shouldn't count as the change.
As your mandatory stop. Yeah.
So you can change, because like obviously if someone comes in and they've got a puncture, they need to change their tyre set.
Yeah. So then you just say you have to stay on the same compound of tyre.
But if they don't have any more left, because they've had to return so many, you could just say that doesn't count as your mandatory stop.
Tyres into this race.
Yeah. As if it's just a stipulation of that doesn't count as your mandatory stop. Yes, you've completed the 2 compounds quota, but we're still going to mandate that you have to make a pit stop.
Yeah, that would actually require a secondary rule change because technically, Formula 1 doesn't mandate a pit stop.
Yeah, it's
Formula 1 merely mandates that you run both sets of tyres. Because in a wet race, you could take one set
to the end
from lights to flag,
as demonstrated by Ocon.
But
it's F2's rules stipulate that you have to make a pit stop, don't they?
Yeah, F2 has a mandatory pit stop. Formula 1,
which I find funny because it's like you've only got 2 tyre compounds to begin with. So does the wording really matter that much? You could say mandatory pit stop. You could say have to use both tyre compounds. Both have the same outcome.
It's because Formula 2's rules around the pit stop are a bit weird as well. Like you can't serve it under the
VSC
safety car, but you can serve under the full safety car.
Yeah, we'll come on to VSCs
you also
later.
Can't serve it before lap 6.
Yes, good fun. I also find that interesting, just as a side note, that it's a lap number and not a percentage distance into the race. For example, it's the 6th lap of Monaco is very different in terms of distance compared to the 6th lap of Spa.
Yeah.
So, but we'll come on to F2 and pit stops and VSCs later because there's some cracking banter with that.
Yeah. Oh, there's a tyre. Whoa.
Oh, there's another one.
And then, wanna see me do it again?
Yeah. Literally.
I mean, apart, obviously, Charles won.
Okay.
Great stuff for him.
Yeah. Charles has finally done it. That's great.
Yeah.
It was a very boring race. It was
Yeah.
just tyre management central. I feel most sorry for Fernando Alonso because both Aston Martins were running front to toe in 11th and 12th. And Alonso got given the instruction to basically go slow again and create enough of a gap for Lance to do a pit stop. And then Lance could go over after the people in front to try and get some points. Alonso did that, created the gap. Then Stroll pitted, came out in front of Alonso still. Perfect. Everything's gone according to plan. Then Lance puts his tyre in the wall, has to come in and pit again, and ruins all of Alonso's hard work.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks to know that you've done everything right and then the other guys just fucked it. So, yeah.
I mean, that's the risks of Monaco, though. But yeah, you are right. It does suck for Fernando.
Yeah. There was some, actually, after he pitted the second time, he put some softs on. He made some good overtakes at the back of the field, to be fair. Still not my overtake of the weekend. We'll come on to that in F2, because that was... but then also, I actually want to commend Logan Sargent for a second here, because the opportunism he displayed. So he got lapped by a car as he's following Joe, maybe, and as that car goes to lap Joe into Mirabeau, Logan's like, I'm just gonna follow him, and overtakes, which is just savage. But brilliant opportunism. Like, when, especially at a circuit like Monaco, you take your chances where you get them. And he saw it and he went for it. So, you know, top draw, fair play. Loved that. Yeah, it was just like, it just came up as a replay, Logan Sargent overtake. I'm like, what universe is this? And then saw it and I was like, sneaky bugger.
Yeah.
So, no, fair play. I mean, there wasn't really a lot else going on, was there? It was time management central. The top four were very much in a game of... Well, they were very much limited by George behind them.
Yeah, but that was because of Charles purposely going slow. Then they couldn't pit.
I had an idea, or two ideas rather, of how you could fix this. I think the best one, potentially, is a mandated lap time. Obviously, force majeure. So if it's raining in the race and it wasn't in quali, that goes out the window. But take the 107% rule of quali and apply it to the race. All race lap times must be within 107% of the qualifying time. And now you're thinking running the maths. Charles's pole time was like what, a 1:11.
Let me check what the 107% time is, because they take that from Q1.
Oh, do they? Interesting.
Yeah, it's
I was
Q1
just going to go for pole time. I don't care about QR. Pole time.
1:11. Savage.
Yeah. Make them go fast. And if they don't do it, if they do it like track limits, you know, you get 3 warnings and then you start accruing penalties. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you know.
Ooh. My other thought would be to make ultra soft tyres for Monaco.
That's the other one, is to just make tyres that last literally a mile and then they fall apart. Or just add a self-destruct button. And Pirelli go, Duke.
Bring the 2012 Pirellis back.
You can see Chris is trying to load up another webpage.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've got the decision documents in front of me. Oh, so they haven't put the 107% time in because everyone made it, and then obviously the two Hasses were disqualified, so they haven't put it there. But Zhou Guanyu's 113.028 was 102% of Charles Leclerc's 111.5.
Yeah, so okay, 111.5.
Oh no, sorry. The 107% time is taken from George Russell, who went fastest in Q1 with a 111.492.
And then we'll times that by 107%. So the 107% makes it a 116.5, basically, which would have been about 3 seconds a lap faster than they were going for most of the race. Doesn't sound like a lot, but do that consistently over the course of the race, you're using a lot more tyre up.
Yeah.
That probably would have forced them to make a pit stop, would have changed things. So I think a 107% rule of quali pace to race pace should be mandated, because then it actually makes them fucking just get on with it.
Drive the fucking car.
Yeah, it's a race, not a fucking tiptoe. Put your foot down.
What was your second idea?
In destructible tyres.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very, very, very soft tyres.
Monaco specials.
Yeah, well, I mean, just anywhere where they're like, oh, we're just going to manage. Just make the tyres softer. Because clearly the softest ones, like, they just run, they're not soft enough. If they can run hards for the whole race, if they can run mediums for the whole race, they're not soft enough.
The thing
Need
is,
softer
Monaco,
tyres.
there's only about 3 corners that actually gets a decent amount of load into the tyres.
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's take the softest one and make that a step above the hard. And then that will be the new Pirelli range. The C-1, the C-2, and the C-3 are your new Pirelli tyres.
You don't want that because they'll be hard. Very hard. You want the
Wait,
C6,
I want a
7, and 8.
6, 7, 8. Oh, shit. Okay, let's go for that then.
I was going to say that if you were running the C-1s, they could run softs for the entire race.
Silverstone. Still get a puncture.
Exactly.
So yeah, those are my two options. I feel like because the 107% rule, you can then sort of just do in the same way of track limits as you get so many strikes, then you get black on white flag, then you get time penalties, etc. Would sort of, it's not ironclad, like you did it once, you get nuked with a penalty, but at the same time, they're keeping an eye. You keep doing it. It's like, when
the drivers just carries on going below the 107% or above it. Sorry, and then he keeps getting time done. He was like, "I'm trying to go as fast as I fucking can."
Logan Sargent constantly falls outside of it. He's driving the absolute rags off the car. He gets 3 minutes of penalties. But no, like
just halfway through the race, okay, Logan, you've been disqualified for driving too slow.
Is there? I don't know if there's. No, I can't see it on here. I'd have to get like actual data up.
What do you want?
I was gonna say, is there like a lap times of things?
There is.
A 1:17.9 was Fernando Alonso's fastest lap in the race. I feel like that's outside of the time I just described.
Yeah,
it is.
But then because it was purposely going slow.
Yeah, true. But he wouldn't. See, if he wasn't doing that.
Race lap analysis. Here we go.
See, Gasly done a 1:15.6.
Joe did a 1:14.7, mate.
He done the one stop. Yeah, but Joe pit again, so you got to take that into content.
I know, but he's showing.
What did you say the 107% time was?
Be 1:16.5.
Charles Leclerc's fastest lap was a 1:15.1.
See, it's within range.
Not really. That was his fastest lap.
Yeah, that's because he wasn't putting his foot down.
Most
Lewis Hamilton's was a 1:14.1. A 1:16.5 would make.
Again.
1:16.5 would make 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers didn't set a fast enough time for that. Maybe 5 if you include Bottas.
It's getting fucking done. Danny Rick's getting done because Alonso can't make the fucking time.
Well, yeah, exactly. That would be the other problem. If the car isn't going fast enough, there's not much you can do.
That's where the penalties come in.
This Charles Leclerc suddenly doing a 1:16.5 perfectly, so Piastri has to do a 1:16.7 and gets disqualified.
I mean, it's. I didn't say it was a perfect plan, okay? I'm just trying to spitball some ideas to just give them some options, all right?
The idea's already failed within 40 minutes.
Fuck off.
Not even that.
27 minutes and you've already debunked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Charles Leclerc broke the Monaco curse at long last.
93 years.
He finished the race last year, and now he's gone much better and won it.
So next year he's going to win it by, like, what, 80 seconds? Is that what we're saying?
Probably not.
Yeah.
No, he's
after
going to DNF
disqualifying
again.
the rest of the fucking
Yeah,
grid.
No, he's going to be disqualified as well for going too slowly.
Yeah, well, hopefully we won't have another situation where they end up running the same set of tyres for the whole bloody race.
We will. It's Monaco.
True. Like, I know, like, track position is king and everything, but, like, Jesus Christ, just fucking drive.
It's the only track.
I can't remember how many years it was, but it's the first time in absolutely ages that the top 10 in qualifying finished in exactly the same positions.
Which gives you
in
the
race.
idea of how shit of a race it was.
It's the only track that you could get George Russell, Max Verstappen, and Lewis Hamilton all within about 2 seconds of each other, and nothing happens.
Yeah, it was a bit shocking, wasn't it? And I am adamant, and I feel like the other Formula races that happened there this weekend kind of proved my point. The cars are just too bloody big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For context, in the F3 feature race on the opening lap, they were 3 wide round the fucking hairpin. And they made it round.
Yeah, but what was it? The F2 sprint? Where they just sort of...
What, the F3 sprint where they parked it up outside Casino? There's 6 cars outside, yeah. The F3 fucking sprint race.
No, the one where they parked it up at the Raskas.
Oh.
And just blocked the track, caused the red flag.
Oh yeah, no, that was F2, yeah, no. I was thinking of, because there was a 6-car pile-up on the opening lap of the F3 sprint, which caused another red flag.
Yeah, F2, like, they sort of tagged each other going into the Raskas, and then one of the drivers drove away, and then just stopped.
Yep. And then somebody tried to
Right in
find
the middle
reverse,
of
and
the
it's just,
circuit.
yeah, it's brilliant. And then someone comes around the corner and just gets met with a roadblock. Like,
Yeah.
Nice. So, no, that was
As soon
quite
as I
funny.
seen it happen, I was like, yeah, red flag. It still took them a solid 2 minutes. I was like, do you want a red flag it?
I think they were desperately hoping he'd find gear and go. Which is understandable, but at the same time, like, he's clearly not finding the gear.
Exactly. Let's do predictions and then we'll move on to F2.
Cool. An abysmal week for everyone's scores. Lowest scores of 1, highest scores of 3. Me and Chris got 1, Ben got 2, Nia and Sonia got 3. So I'm on 47 points. Oh, Sonia's leapfrogged me. Sonia's back in the lead. She's on 48. Ben is on 43. Chris, you're on 34. And Nia has leaped you, and she's on 35. So Chris is back in last place.
I'm playing pointless again, boys.
Yeah.
I'm winning.
I had predictions in from Hallie and SK. Hallie actually did quite well. She got 7 points. And it was just an incorrect choice of McLaren driver that let her down from being a full 16. So Paul Leclerc, and then she said Leclerc, Norris, Sainz. So obviously Leclerc and Sainz correct. Just not Norris. So 7 points for that. And then SK said Leclerc, Norris, and Hamilton. So I got 4 points for that one. So Hallie's on 18, SK is on 15. Ben, bold predictions. You said more than 5 overtakes. Holy shit, there was. Chris, you said no DNFs. That lasted 2 turns.
Yeah.
Well done, Chris.
Nia said an issue at pit stop. No.
Was there a pit stop?
I mean, the closest you could get is that Lance Stroll came in with only 3 wheels
Actually,
on.
there was an issue with a pit stop. Sauber done a 2.5 second pit stop.
That's too quick. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, that's an
I
issue.
mean, there was issues with pit stops, just not in Formula 1.
Yeah. And then I said only 1 red flag in quali, and there weren't any. Lapdown showdown. The final result was Bottas on lap 41, and he finished 2 laps down. So I'm technically closest because I said Bottas on lap 42, but 1 lap down. Ben did get the number of laps down correct though. So
head on.
Nobody got anything right with Perez prediction results because he qualified 18th and DNF'd.
In a Red Bull.
In a Red Bull. Yeah, so I mean, I guess I was closest with quali of 12th, but I don't give any points if you get you get the position or you get nothing is how Perez prediction works.
It's just the fact that you genuinely qualified 18th on pace.
Yeah, wild. Wild.
Alright, Formula 2.
Oh, yes. Qualifying. Obviously, for the lower formulas, qualifying is split into groups. The even-numbered cars and the odd-numbers cars get paired up, and then lots get drawn or something, which decides whichever one goes first. So this year, the even-numbered cars went first in Formula 2, and the odd-numbered cars went second. The top 3 for Group A, as it's known, was Richard Verschoor, Isaac Hadjar, and Franco Colapinto. With Richard Verschoor setting a 1:21.283, which was actually the fastest time, which is not normally what you'd expect. Normally you expect the second group to go a bit quicker. But Victor Martins, who topped Group B, could only manage a 1:21.310. So close, but not quite. Following up in that group was Paul Aron and Roman Stanek.
Which means that Group A get the odd number side of the grid, and Group B get the even number, which is a bit crap. Like, you could qualify P2 on pure pace out of everybody,
and still be third,
and then they'd be third.
Yeah, it's awkward, but I mean, it's sort of, I guess, the best they can do.
But just merge the results.
I might look at it in more detail and see if it would actually line up, or if there was a distinct advantage to going in one of the groups. But one of the groups' runnings was interrupted. Was that F2 or F3? It might have been F3. I think it was F3 actually. But yeah, so there's a lot more 21.8s and 21.9s in Group B. So in Group A was definitely faster on average. So, yeah. Anyway, the sprint race. Taylor Barnard picked up a sprint race win ahead of Gabriel Bortoletto and Dennis Hauger. And the feature race, which is what I want to talk about. Feature race was absolutely amazing to watch. So, everything's going as planned. Ollie Behrman qualified 12th, so not great, but then ran the opposite strategy, so started on the softer tyres and managed to pick up 5 places on the opening lap at Monaco. So put himself in a really good position, then had a decent pit stop, and then his teammate pit after him. And oh my god, that battle between Antonelli and Behrman, wild. Everything from turn 1 all the way down to the hairpin. And Behrman got Antonelli at the hairpin with a switchback.
Jesus.
Yeah. Honestly, best move of the weekend by a mile. Go and watch it. But then Zach O'Sullivan started 15th on the grid. Had just been left out to dry by his team, praying for some kind of intervention, and then Durskin comes out of the pits and immediately trops across Zane Maloney and launches him into the air. which brings out the double wave yellows. Teams immediately like, box, now. Then as he comes into the pits, the stewards go, virtual safety car. Which, under the rules, you're not allowed to pit under in Formula... Or you can pit under, but it doesn't count as your mandated pit stop in Formula 2. But, because he was already in the pit lane, it still counted. And he managed to maintain the lead and came out ahead of Isaac Hadjar, who was apoplectic. And did not colour himself in glory at all. He was fully shouting down at his team down the radio, and basically just sounded like a spoiled little shit. So I can understand being annoyed, but the extent at which he just kept on at it, not a good look. So, but that meant the final result was O'Sullivan ahead of Hadjar and ahead of Aaron. Aaron's third place means he actually takes over the lead of the Formula 2 Drivers' Championship. So he's on 80 points, with Hadjar behind on 78, and Maloney, who DNF'd, he only scored 1 point this whole weekend, actually. Yeah, he's on 69 points now. So, funny number. Oh, he did finish. I thought he got launched into Narnia. He finished 10th. He picked up the last point. As for the teams, Campos have pulled out a bit of a gap. They are now on 104, ahead of High Tech, who are on 95, and MP, who are on 94. I should also say...
not quite.
Richard Verschoor got very unlucky. He had a mechanical issue that resulted in him not finishing the race. I think the long and short of it was that his gearbox was overheating. Which basically resulted in A, less power, and B, clunky shifts. So they ended up just retiring the car, which was unfortunate for him, considering he'd put it on pole and was driving a very solid race. Like, he was just defending and leading from the front, so it was fine.
To be fair, if there's any race that you want to have a gearbox issue and you're going slow, it's Monaco.
Yeah, but like this was to the point that people were just straight lining him on the straight. And
that is bad.
And being clear to pull into the racing line before the first corner.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was savage to watch. And he did sum it up on the radio that said, "This is my career." Because he has had bad luck like this before. And so I swear every time it's like Richard Verschoor disqualification, and it's some like technical infringement or some issue with the car or a lack of fuel or something. But yeah, he just gets unlucky with it.
And then the Formula 3.
Yes. Good banter. Again, even numbered cars went first, and then odd numbered cars went second.
Shall we mention what happened before the weekend before we talk about Formula 3?
Oh yeah, you do your stewards docs things, because I don't get this. I mean, I do, but I don't.
So they have suspended 2 drivers for future rounds of the Formula 3 Championship for participating in another championship without the promoter's permission. And I can understand why. Let me double check who it was. Where is it? Oh no, again, this was Imola, but we'll talk about it anyway.
Yeah, you weren't here to do it, so we didn't cover it.
Yeah, fair. So, Arvid Lindblad?
Yep, Lindblad.
Apologies for butchering the name. Participated in a race at Silverstone in the Oh, sorry, it wasn't even a race. It was just a test of the GB3 car. And the FIA went, that's basically the Formula 3 car. You've tested illegally at Silverstone, and so banned him for Silverstone.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And it was the same for the second driver. Oh wait, there was 3 drivers that have been banned.
So
I thought it was only 2.
So would he have been alright if he'd done it at somewhere like Brands Hatch? Or Snetterton?
Possibly.
Or Alton Park?
They may not have got a race ban, but would still have received like, the substantial fines and stuff.
I'll take a fine.
But yeah, sorry, there's 3 drivers. Car 15, which is Martinius Stenshorn of Hitech, has been banned for Silverstone for again taking part in the GB3 test.
I love the way you've broken up that name. Stenshorn.
Yeah. And Nikola Solov has been banned for Spa. So the cringe fest that won't be at Spa Francorchamps.
Yeah.
Again, for participating in what is in essence an illegal test. Except this was actually racing. He participated in Eurocup 3. And the FIA went, "What are you doing?" And also said at the end of the document, had they asked to take part, they would have been told no. Well, that was for the 2 Silverstone ones, but you'd have to assume that the stewards noted that both the FIA and promoter representative admitted that if they'd received the request for Car 15 to be part of the standalone race in Silverstone, they would have denied the authorization due to the similarities between the GB3 car and the F3 car, and so it presented a sporting gain for the driver, which is also why Solov has been banned from Spa for receiving a sporting advantage by illegally participating in another championship.
I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, when you're going to that circuit, ban them from that circuit because they've had practice around it. But at the same time, everyone drives a bloody simulator these days. So, and I know
but
that's
allowed
not the
within
same
the
thing.
regulations.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Right.
Digital is not the same, but still, lol.
and they all know the rules where they need to ask to take part in it. See if I think if it'd be like an equivalent to Formula 4 or
Anything lower spec, yeah,
or
sure.
Formula 2 even.
Yeah.
They would
Just
probably
not
be like
the same level of machinery.
Cool. But the fact that there's Formula 3 cars, the FIA's went,
"What are you doing?
What are you doing? Stop."
Dum.
So yeah, those 3 drivers are banned for future races.
At least the teams have time to find a replacement.
Exactly.
So also
I think
awkward
what
because
makes
it will
it
put
better
their
is one of the drivers drives for Hitech, who took part in the race at Silverstone.
So I mean, Hitech's everywhere these days. Like, they're in everything.
Again, the FIA were basically like, "What?" Yeah, the team representative explained that he was unaware of the driver's participation until he received the summons, but admitted that Hitech Pulsate was present in the event as they run 3 cars in the GB3 Championship. How can you be unaware that they participated if you've got 3 cars there?
I suppose.
Surely you look at the entry list and go,
yeah, but if it's not
wait a minute,
it's not his bag. It's like somebody else's one. You know, he's the F3 team representative, not the GB3 team representative.
Yeah, that's. But again, surely someone at the team looks at the entry list and goes,
"Hang on a minute, he's doing F3
wait
this
a minute.
year."
Yeah,
Apparently
he drives
not.
for us. What's going on?
So, oh well.
It would have been even worse if he drove for Hitech in that championship.
That would have been really funny. Right, Monaco.
But yeah, Monaco.
Group A, even-numbered cars. Gabriele Mini led the way there, ahead of Browning and ahead of Fornaroli. Group B, again slower. Christian Mansell ahead of Lindblad and Beganovic in third. So, sprint race. Nikola Solov, who's landed himself in some uncomfortable waters after some cringe-worthy TikTok posts this week, led the way ahead of Tramnitz and Van Herpen. And the feature race was Gabriele Mini ahead of Mansell, ahead of Browning, which is basically how they qualified on the grid. Those 3 kept themselves out of trouble. So, yeah, the front of the field was fine. It was further back, everything went wrong. So, Yeah, the sprint race was one where we lost 6 cars in the opening lap, all of which parked up outside the casino. I mean, okay, there was so much like elbows and bumping and barging, but you just need to watch the highlights because trying to cover all of it would be here for another hour.
Yeah.
Even though it's Monaco, there's still like because there's so many people that just like tap the wall, and that means somebody else gets through, and yeah, it's carnage. But it's good fun
And
to watch.
It's the junior formula, so they can deliver good races wherever they go.
Well, exactly. I mean, I said earlier they went 3 wide around the bloody hairpin.
Exactly.
That was a bit like, what, are you sure, boys? But I mean, they made it work, so yeah. No, good racing. Definitely one to watch. Even if you only watch the highlights reel, definitely one to catch if you want to stay abreast of the Formula 3 news. Formula 3 next joins us in Barcelona, and Formula 2 next joins us in Barcelona, which is
Also,
on the 21st of June. So we've got Canada first? Canada first.
Props to Formula 1 for the graphic that they put out, again, before Imola, for the 2025 season with the 3 cut. I found it really funny that they included Formula 1 on it, like you're going to get an F2 standalone event. It's like, yeah, we know Formula 1's there. But just breaking it down to make it really easy straight away to be like, right, who's there?
It just means that they haven't announced the F1 Academy calendar yet, so we're still waiting on that one.
Announced the F1 Academy calendar till late in the day, so this year, so that's not a surprise.
Oh, F3 standings didn't do that. Championship, Gabriele Mini leads now with 72 points ahead of Luke Browning on 68 points, ahead of Leonardo Fornaroli on 64 points. So that's quite close. As for the teams, Prema Racing lead the way on 174 points, ahead of Trident on 119, ahead of ART on 85, who are actually tied with Campos on 85, but yeah, they've had better weekends, so they're ahead.
Just Formula 3 things.
Wild.
But yeah, I think that's it for this week. There was no news.
Not beyond the graphic of all of the calendars.
Yeah. I mean, Adrian Newey is still looking for a new team. There's apparently rumours that Ferrari are no longer interested. I think that's bonkers.
Yeah.
If that turns out to be true, Ferrari are on drugs.
I think if that turns out to be true, Ferrari have pulled a mad one and made him resign for no reason. They've just said, we don't want him because we can't afford him, but we have made it so that you can't have him.
Just Ferrari things.
Wild. Would be hilarious if that's exactly what they'd done. Just like, oh, do you want a job? Quit Red Bull? Yeah, we don't care. Have fun. Happy retirement.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's not much else been going on. So with that, we'll see you next week for Canada predictions. Yes.
How many groundhogs are going to cop it this year?
But until then, ta-ra for now.